Hey, what's going on? Moment of transparency. I remember when I was asking questions about what am I supposed to do now, because I was in church and that's all I knew, seriously. But then when things in the community started to get crazy, like George Floyd, like COVID, I think the crazy thing about it is that the questions that I asked were, what are we doing? Because we run around this church shouting, prophesying, laying hands on folks, and it seemed like to me that the community outside was dying. And I mean, yeah, we fed them with barbecues and things of that nature, but did we empower them? And so I began to get on a quest, and the crazy thing is that the quest led me to, the prophetic movement and things of that nature. And even when I was in the prophetic movement, when my personal world fell apart, the time that I needed prophecy the most, it wasn't there. I got to a place, I didn't want to hear anything about God. I didn't want to hear nothing. I didn't want to hear preaching, because I felt as though, how is it that I can serve God and then my world fall apart, and people who were attached to me, who I work with in the spiritual fields, didn't even bother to say, yo, what's going on? Because a lot of times in ministry, as long as you're putting out, nobody really cares what's happening in your personal life. Just as long as you show up to church, show up and preach, show up and praise, show up and do music, but inwardly crying out, inwardly and personally, life falling apart. And that's what it was. And the crazy thing is that I'm like, God, how? When you think you've done everything right and it still don't work out, it don't make sense. And then you read scriptures that put you in more bondage. And this is one of the reasons why I say we got to make Christianity make sense. We got to make church make sense, because there are a lot of people who are ending their lives because they felt as though I walked this path and it didn't get me nothing. And when I needed help the most, it wasn't there. God never showed up. But we read the scriptures that he hid Moses in the cleft of the rock and then passed by and allowed Moses to see his back. Some of us will be happy just to see the back of God, to hear him talk. But a lot of us, all we got was silence.